Mate G219, y'all know what it is. It's Hell But Back in Bed, another one coming at ya. First, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Hit that channel if y'all want to help out. Today is January 2nd. Gotta go back to work today. About 5 a.m. You know, I gotta go in about half an hour, 45 minutes. But, again, that's irrelevance. That's the irrelevance for today. But I'm reacting still to the chump's daughter. The chump Michael Thompson. Pussy ex-Aryan that testified on his buddies and, you know, the most hated Aryan ever, from what I've understood. One of the biggest lying Aryans ever, too. Former Aryans. I'm not going to say he's an Aryan because I don't believe he's an Aryan anymore. I don't think the Aryans would ever have anything to do with him again. But let's get into today's reaction.
Credibility for himself.
It's possible.
And because I do believe, this is just me, this is my opinion.
So there's people have the same opinion as you.
He probably knew that he was being investigated. And, you know...
Even when he was doing our first original episode, you think...
Yes.
Oh, you think he knew the heat was already on?
So you think he did our episode as a way to...
Just to bring you back up to speed, she was talking about just discrediting basically everything he said. She had also stated that she believes he's still a member of the Aryan Brotherhood, which I said I don't believe for one bit that he is. I was talking a little bit about the fangirls right here, as you see. Not sure of their name, but they seem to be, or to have been manipulated very easily by Pinocchio. So, that's just the gist of it. Let's get back into it.
Heat off of him
to show credibility
for his transformation. It's possible.
No, show credibility for the Live, Learn, and Prosper.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Show credibility for all the non-profits that he's doing because...
Yeah, he talked about non-profits a lot in those other letters. Like, he started and founded a bunch of different... I'm the CEO of this. He didn't even mention... I mean, it was a while ago, but I'm saying he has an affinity for setting up these organizations, it seems like.
And yet he amassed wealth while behind bars. Well, that was because you're part of the AB.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that's a logical explanation. I don't know how much wealth.
So, again, like she said, because he's a part of the AB, that's why he's able to thrive behind bars. And that's not the fact. I know plenty of people, non-affiliated people. I never knew any with targets on their back like him, but I also never knew anybody in the protected yards. So, I knew people that went into them, but as far as what happened afterwards, not a clue. Never been to that side. But just like in every facility, every dorm, there's somebody that's got the hustle. There's a hustle man. And when you've done 45 years in prison, that's what you know. You know how to get it out the mud while you're in prison. You got hustles. You got things you've learned to do over the time. So there's ways to make money. And if you're defrauding people, you got access to a cell phone on top of it. Defrauding people, citizens, while you're inside, it's a very, very common thing. Chain gang games. It's real. I've seen guys manipulate women out of so much money. It's ridiculous. I'm coming home next month knowing that they've got 65 years to serve before they're even considered at that point in time. And it's a big game, guys.
He may or may not have had, but if he did have money, I'm not sure how he got that money.
He talked about equity in some of his property.
Yeah, but again, does he have the property for real?
Who knows?
Is the property valuable? That's a whole different discussion.
Exactly.
However, if it's there, it's there. The fact is, it seems he had some money when he got out, and now he's in jail. And so, how did he get that money? I can't call it.
Well, he scammed them.
Yeah, well, there's other people. I'll let them speak on that. That's all good.
Yeah,
you know.
But
he is convicted now of scamming and defrauding, a fraud. He's convicted of fraud now. That's how he had money. Are you that stupid? That naive? I don't know. Not you, ma'am. Not her. I'm talking about these fangirls.
That was the that first podcast. That was it for me. I was just like, son of a bitch. I can't believe it.
Although it was, and then it wasn't, though, because you reached out, we talked a little bit, and then we set up a call, and I think it was like, it was fairly early in the morning. You sent me a message like, hey,
spoke to my family.
I've taken this, I'm gonna reevaluate some things, and I think it was, we've talked since, is because you were coming from a place of more emotional side,
That's
and you
right.
wanted to be more rational.
That's right.
Whether or not we ever spoke again, I'm saying this is in hindsight now.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're exactly right. I try not to do things based on emotion, and I do, like we talked about earlier, I believe a lot. I have similar thoughts about how the universe works and being right, and I believe in karma, like Michael does, and I obviously, apparently I get that from him. But I didn't want to do anything that would not only harm myself, but harm others.
When you have thoughts about the way the world works, usually a lot of people share the same thoughts. They share the same feelings. And it doesn't have to be father-daughter. You're not going to inherit that thought pattern from your father. I'm not saying you can't, but a lot of similarities in thoughts doesn't really mean too much.
Based on my emotions, and at that time I was very emotional. I mean, now I'm just learning that he's been out for how long, and I haven't heard from him, and so all those emotions are running rampant. And this is the very first time I've ever come public.
Yeah,
I've never come out public at all, and so it was a decision that I had to feel good about. And after watching the podcast, last night, because I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was talking about,
Sure, of course.
I felt I was doing the right thing, and I still feel I'm doing the right thing. I don't think he's...
Now, that being said, she, I believe, is one of the most courageous women to come out and say that this piece of shit's your father. And he's a liar, and... yes, I'm his daughter, but it does not reflect on her. And I think the whole world knows that. Just because her father's a piece of crap does not make her a piece of crap. She seems like a well-rounded woman. She's a military woman, which, ma'am, thank you for your service. It's, tremendous to go serve your country. Something I regret not doing. All I had to do was pass a drug test, and I refused to quit smoking. So, it was a stupid choice of mine. But, ma'am, thank you for your service. And I believe everything she's saying, and I believe she believes everything she's saying. Now, whether she's right or wrong, that's neither here nor there. 90% of what she says I do believe is correct. About him manipulating, about him lying and stuff. Honestly, 98.9%. The only thing I don't believe she's correct about is him still being affiliated with the Aryan Brotherhood. That's the only thing.
Left the AB. I do believe that he has scammed all these people, and for whatever reason he has for not contacting me, I don't know. But I am his greatest accomplishment, and he's had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and so we're going to touch on that for sure, but what just came to my mind as you were talking about being the first time you're going public about these things and saying these things, this is going to get back to him one way or another.
Oh, it absolutely will.
And we can all figure out how that'll happen, but there's something you want to say directly to him right now. What is that?
Gee, I never thought about that.
I know.
I really never thought about that. You blew it. You blew it.
Look into the camera and say it to him.
You blew it. You blew it. We talked about...
the most special thing to me in my life is my family. My daughters, my son. Man, this little 5-year-old I have, I couldn't imagine hurting her. My 13-year-old, never again. Now, I wasn't there for the first 5 years of her life. I was gone, incarcerated. I was gone. I wrote letters. I did everything I could to keep in contact. But that, again, is neither here nor there. I could not imagine not loving my daughter. And he clearly doesn't have real love for his daughter. Anything he's done seems to have that ulterior motive. Seems to, the only way he's going to do it is if it benefits him in one way, shape, or form.
My life and how I was raised, and I was the one damn good thing out here he had.
True.
And he walked away from it for whatever reason. And if you had just reached out to me, if you had just talked to me, I would probably be advocating for him right now.
Yeah.
I probably would be trying to help him, doing everything that I possibly can. Does that mean I believe he's innocent?
No.
No. But as his daughter, who wants to maintain that relationship and that connection with him, who wouldn't want to do that?
Sure.
So, you know, you made your bed, you lie in it, that old adage, and you blew it.
Well, more so also that you're here as well is that your whole life and the things you've seen, witnessed, lived through, your story is inspiring. It's full of redemption and hope. I mean, you grew up with a drug-addicted mother, without a father. Father was in prison for murder.
Correct.
Grew up homeless from 15 to 18.
Correct.
Was never...
See, apparently he claims he hasn't taken a life, but he was in prison for taking a life.
A drug addict, did whatever you had to do to survive, and did it with dignity, and worked several different jobs, and
joined the military.
Joined the military, right?
Yeah. You want me to touch on that, or you just want to?
I just want to. Whether you want to touch on it or not, I just want to tip my hat to you and say,
truly.
like, you know, it's not like it's something, and I know that you're proud of it, but I see you as like a very, very strong woman, an inspiring woman. I wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, well, you're right. And, you know, my mother was a drug addict, and she was very violent, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. And my twin sister, got the brunt of the abuse because she looked a lot like Michael. And so she was in and out of mental institutions from the time that we were 14 years old, and unfortunately passed away in 2012. With that being said, you know, the mindness of her abuse was really bad. I didn't suffer a lot of the physical abuse that my sister had until after my sister had left. And we were 14. And then at the age of 15, you know, I was in high school. I was on the swim team, the water polo team. I was getting good grades. I was a good girl. I wasn't, you know, running around doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. She came home from work one day and said, "I'm tired of taking care of you. You have 2 hours to pack your shit, get the fuck out." And that's exactly what she said to me. So I packed my clothes and left.
This was at 14, 15?
I was 15.
Yeah.
And I was just...
As a parent, I couldn't imagine throwing my child out. My child's more than welcome here at 21. No matter what, I got an open door for my kids. Do I want to be paying all their bills? Absolutely not. Especially when he's 21, but he's got an open door here at any time. Anytime.
Floored. I was like, what the hell? So I packed my bag and I left. And I never went home. I never went back. And I lived on the streets from 15 to 18. I had planned to join the military straight out of high school. We talked about that. Mm-hmm. And I failed the physical because I was pregnant with my daughter, my oldest child. And her father, we never finished that conversation about that, but her father was arrested while I was pregnant with her. And I did not know that he was committing armed robberies. And I was with him the day that he was arrested. and I was 5 months pregnant, and we pulled up into a grocery store, and before I knew it, cops were yelling, and I had a .45 pointed at my head, although they didn't realize that I was a minor and pregnant. That's the first time I learned of his criminal activity. So here I see history repeating itself in that regard. My disdain for my mother and her drugs always came first. It didn't matter if I needed... I used to eat just crackers and milk. Sometimes there wasn't even food in the house. Because if...
So unfortunately, I've heard this a lot. And when you're addicted to a serious drug, it's not an easy thing to get off of. I can at least say I never deprived my kids of food or anything like that. I mean, now my 5-year-old wasn't alive when she was not even thought of when I was in my addiction. But my 13-year-old, unfortunately, I was gone for the first 5 years of her life. I mean, but my son never went hungry. My son still was number one. I couldn't imagine being that hard up to where your kids aren't eating.
The drugs were first.
Yeah, you need to buy drugs before food.
Exactly.
That was my story always.
So, I deeply resented what drugs did to her and what it did to my life. So I never did drugs. Even though she tried to accuse me of always taking her drugs because she used it so much, she couldn't remember what she took.
Yeah.
But, so I saw history repeating itself. Like, here my dad's in prison, now her dad's in prison. I'm living on the streets. I can't raise this child. And my family wasn't going to help me. But my grandmother allowed me to move in, provided that I gave her up for adoption. And that's what I did, and it was the best decision I ever made. Because right then and there, that was the moment that I broke any type of cycle that was going to go on from there.
Perpetuated that cycle.
Yeah. And I went on to marry and have other children, all college educated. I went to college. I served my country. I did end up serving my country because it was something I started and I wanted to finish.
Kudos to this woman right here. Not only did she give another family a chance to have a child, because a lot of times those families that do adopt children aren't able to make children themselves, and it's a blessing to receive that gift from God to be able to be a parent. And it's a blessing for that child because she recognized that she was not in any position to bring a child into this world. Mentally, physically, financially, in no way, shape, or form was she ready to bring a child into this world. But she did give another family a gift that's a gift of all gifts, if you'd ask me. That's kudos to you, young lady. And then went on, served your country, remarried, had more children, all college educated. I mean, you're doing the damn thing. You broke the cycle. You are the one that broke the cycle, nobody else.
And I have a good life. I never sold myself on the streets. I never did drugs, and I never took a damn thing that didn't belong to me. I worked for everything that I have. And I worked 2 jobs and went to school full time.
It's amazing.
To do
the
that.
fact we talked about it being a statistical anomaly.
I am.
Yeah, no, you definitely are.
Yeah.
And to not get into that, being strong enough to not get into that type of lifestyle or just do drugs to take the pain away or the whatever it was that you were going through, I can't even imagine. Putting it into words is marginalizing it for me, from my standpoint. But I started doing drugs because I had fear and self-esteem issues. But I had a good, easy, pretty life, And then to hear stories like yours is just, it's remarkable.
So, now, whether either of these guys have been to prison or how far their lives went into the addiction and where it led them, I don't know. But he seems that he might have been in dark places. He may have hit his rock bottom, Don't know where that was or how that was, because everybody's rock bottom is different. But I did think I was going to get the rest of this video reacted to today, or this morning, but I still got another 15 minutes of video left to react to. And I've got to take off to work. So I'm going to do a few more minutes, but I'm going to have to do a part 4. I mean, what the heck? Oh well.
And then it's also, for anybody out there that struggles, like most of the things that we struggle with, there are solutions and there's actionable steps and ways to go about it, but most of the things that we do are implemented from choices that we make.
That's right. And, Michael talked about that too, and that's where I get that from as well. I mean, I raised my kids, with the understanding that, look, I had choices. I could have chosen to go many different directions.
Sure.
And I chose not to go in that direction because that's not what I wanted for my life. I felt I deserved better. I deserved to have the mom and the dad at home and the white picket fence that everybody dreams about, especially little girls playing with their dolls. I never played with little dolls. I didn't do that. I was too busy trying to survive, figuring out where my next meal was going to come from. Is my mom going to be home tonight? And what kind of mood is she going to be in? Will she have her pot? I mean, 1982, that was the worst year of her drug use, and I was telling you all that, we lived in an apartment. We always lived in roach-infested apartments and, bad conditions, and we had a cat that was sick, and we didn't have money to do the laundry.
See, in order to come out of a life like that, growing up like that, and become this successful, this strong, this dominant woman, that's a feat in its own. To accomplish what she's accomplished in life, that's a feat in itself. But
I hadn't seen my mother in days, and I went to school with cat shit on my clothes. Yeah. So, I mean, I knew I wanted something different, and I wanted better, and I deserved better. So everything that my mother did, I just did the opposite. And I have no feelings for that woman, and I do mean none. The day that the day that I learned that she died, they waited for me to get there, and they pulled her out in a cardboard box, and I touched her thigh just to make sure that the bitch was gone. And that was it. I didn't shed one damn tear over that woman.
Whoa. I couldn't fathom not having love for my mom or my dad. But I also couldn't fathom going through anything this woman has gone through. But for now, that's it for today, guys. Never forget life's choices. You never know if you're going to get swindled by Pinocchio or what. I mean, in the best day, you'll meet a woman like this. But on an average day, when you take that wrong turn, you're going to meet Michael Thompson or somebody just like him, swindling you and getting over just with that ulterior motive. But hey, guys, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that channel if you want to help out. And always remember, if they ain't hating it, you ain't making it. Peace.